This is the Force engine, and it's sort of a strange choice for Throwback Thursday because it's actually relatively new. But it is allowing me to run a game, which is a throwback. And it's a throwback to a game I was given by a childhood friend. A childhood friend who passed away. And so in honor of him, we're going to play this game, and I'm going to talk a little bit about what's been going on this week. So let's get into it. Possibly one of the best soundtracks. All right. I wanted to let that roll because I really enjoy that soundtrack. All right. Let's create a new agent. All right. So the year was 1997. And my parents dragged me out into the literal boonies. We're going to go on easy because I don't really want to challenge. I just want to play through. They dragged me into the literal boonies. They are missionaries in Africa to this day. Mozambique. They dragged me into the boonies. And the nearest town we went to, that was close to where we lived in the boonies. Literally, we went down a dirt trail. We drove down a dirt trail. And we were just in the middle of absolutely nowhere. And the nearest town had a lot of missionary families. And one of them was an American missionary family. And we actually went to their house because they had well water. Now, cities in Mozambique, they don't have clean water. In fact, a lot of developing nations, you can't drink the water out of the tap. And we were out, again, literally in the boonies, and there was not clean drinking water. So, in order to get some clean water to drink out there, we took a 55-gallon drum. If you don't know what a 55-gallon drum is, it's like the fuel drums that you see explode in games. If you really have like no experience with them, they're like the rain barrels that you might have around your house. So a 55-gallon drum, and we filled it. It was like a blue plastic drum, and we filled it with water from their well, because they actually had a well with clean drinking water. And this family had 3 children, and the eldest of the kids was one of my childhood friends, and he gave me this game. And I spent a lot of time playing this game through my childhood, and you gotta imagine the situation here. No internet. Electricity was provided by a diesel generator, so because diesel is expensive compared to electrical generation, you know, through other methods, right? Like if you buy power off the grid, you can get it for relatively cheap. Diesel generation is actually extremely expensive, like possibly an order of magnitude more expensive. Don't quote me on that number, but it's not cheap to generate electricity with a diesel generator. But that's how we got electricity. And so the generator was only run when it was needed to pump water, basically, and provide for basic necessities like cooking and washing and whatever. We didn't have air conditioning. We just survived. And so the generator ran for about 4 hours a day. Actually, I think initially it was 4 hours in the morning and then 4 hours in the evening. And I had a little 486 at the time. Little. I mean, it was like a cream-colored case with a 486 processor in it. I don't remember any of the other specs of it because my dad just called it, oh, we got a 486, right? And so that's the only thing that carries with me is just the generation of the processor. And so anyway, yeah, this guy showed up one day from town, this American family, and he had built his own computer. He had played a whole bunch of video games, and he gave me Dark Forces. And so this is Dark Forces, but it's been upgraded. You can see I can move the mouse and I can look up and down. It's got the modern conveniences that you would expect out of a first-person shooter. I can use the WASD keys, and it's set up to be played in the modern way. The old way of playing, let me see if the controls still work. No, see, they don't even work. Oh yeah, there. So to tilt up and down before, you had to press the page up and page down keys, and normally you couldn't go. You could only go up to about that level and down to that level, sort of thing. And it was just arrow keys, and it was all keyboard. You played entirely with the keyboard. It was awful by today's standards. And there's actually some graphical improvements here. This is higher resolution than the game used to run at. You can see the textures are still low res. So anyway, I'm playing this in honor of that guy who gave me this game. He was my childhood, one of my many childhood friends. I actually didn't know him as well as some people, but he recently, I actually don't know all the circumstances of his passing.
Too easy.
His family reached out, informing us that he had passed. What I will say is it was not of natural causes, and it was not by the hand of another human being. Unfortunately, the YouTube guidelines are a little bit sketchy on this, and what I don't want is to get a strike for talking about the wrong thing in the wrong way. But we'll just say he obviously was dealing with some dark stuff, and he lost the fight with his own mind, which really sucks. And I thought I would just, you know, I've done a few of these Throwback Thursday videos, playing old games, old scenarios in Age of Empires. This is a little bit off-brand, right? Because this isn't Age of Empires. But, you know, people can often be dealing with things, and it's hidden. You don't know what's going on in their lives. People don't advertise their struggles. I'm going to skip the cutscene here. Except this one. This one's cool.
The Emperor has approved your test demonstration, General Monk.
Thank you, Lord Vader. What I unveiled...
Ah, it's too long. There we go. So this is what Kyle Katarn used to look like. He was a pretty ugly looking guy. They made him much more beautiful in later games. Alright, moving on. Oh, come on. Let's move on. I don't really care for this level. Do the cheat codes work? What is it? Is it LA? LucasArts LA Skip, I think? Just LA Skip? Ha! Alright, there we go. Oh, a note city. This is great. It's terrible, but it's great. It's a sewer city. People won't tell you what they're going through. Where's the music? Well, that's a problem. We need music. Sound. Where's our music? No, we've been missing the music this whole time. Oh, there we go. Good. So it is contingent upon us, first of all, to not hide things, not keep things to ourselves. People can't help you if they don't know what's going on in your life. And that's something I say to myself as well, because I tend to keep problems I'm dealing with to myself. I don't even talk to my parents about stuff. My sister calls my parents every single day, talks to them. They know well what's going on in her life, but they don't know the struggles I go through. And I've had my own, you know, serious struggles where I felt like giving up on life. I have had physical injuries that really bothered me, and I felt quite hopeless, to be honest, for a while, based on those things. Now, luckily I have people around me I love and who depend on me, and so I was able to think through, right, like, realistically, what is the best thing to do? And that is to be around for the people who care about me. But some people are so deep in despair, they don't even think about those things. They don't process that. And anyway, so I think it's important for each of us to, first of all, be honest about what we're going through with someone we can trust. And I know that can be difficult. I've heard this saying, I think it's true, that women live their relationships face to face and men live them shoulder to shoulder. And I know, like, you know, people will immediately point to exceptions to the rule, like, oh, well, I know this one. Anyway, it's a generalization, and it usually bears true. But what was I going to say? You know, we need to be honest with people about how we're doing in life, so they can, you know, come alongside us and encourage us. Because no one, I think, is immune from, you know, despair, and we can all use a helping hand at times, even if it's just an emotional hand, right? Like a word of encouragement. Oh, I hate this part. It's tab. There's my map. These silly remotes are so hard to kill. There we go. Yeah, so it's important for us to so I was talking about the importance to just be honest with people so that they can be helpful to you, right? They can come alongside you and encourage you. But it's also important to not assume someone's doing okay just because they aren't expressing their struggles, right? Often someone who keeps themselves isn't doing fine. At numerous occasions where I find out someone's dealing with some really terrible stuff, and they just don't talk about it. And so you kind of find out all of a sudden later on, you're like, really? I had no idea you were dealing with this. Why didn't you talk about it? But again, sometimes it's something they're ashamed to talk about. So not only should we be honest about how we're doing, we need to be proactive. I'm talking to myself here. I'm not preaching to you guys. I'm preaching to myself. We need to be proactive in reaching out to the people we are connected with, people we care about. Frankly, I am not very good at being a friend. I don't reach out to people. I am a homebody. I am reserved and a bit of an introvert. So it is difficult, but still I always feel like I need to do a better job about being proactive and just reaching out to people. And when I get this feeling like, I wonder how this person's doing, whenever I think of someone, it's like, maybe I should reach out to them. I should talk to them. Just say, hey, dude, how's life? How are you doing? I think that would be valuable for each of us to do with those around us. I think a lot of life, you know, in North America, in sort of like a meritocracy like the United States, but also just generally speaking, a lot of our a lot of our worth, I think we tie up in what we can do for the world, right? Our worth is tied up in our earning potential and our success in life and our physical fitness and a whole bunch of stuff that we actually can't control. Or, that's not true. A whole bunch of stuff. I feel like the internet makes things worse, where it shows the ideal. Like, people on social media, they present their best face, right? Like, they don't show what it's like to... They don't show their lowest moments usually. They show their best face, right? They show all their successes and achievements. I do the same. I every time I publish a paper, I talk about my paper. I go, hey, I published another paper. But I don't talk about all the, I failed at work today because this almost happened and it almost was a catastrophe, right? So, we tend to compare ourselves to sort of a... How's this? The reality is the world lives on a bell curve. There are people who are high achievers. There are those few percent who just like are really good at everything. And it's tempting to compare ourselves to those people, but it's even more tempting to compare ourselves to those people when it seems like everyone is high achieving, because social media, people are only presenting themselves as being high achieving to begin with. So then you tend to feel very deficient. Like you aren't living up to what you should be. And I think Shoveler and I, we've been talking about for this LEL League. For those of you participating in it, we've been encouraging, help out a nonprofit. I've been promoting this Polly's Project and Sam Ministries on this channel. And what I don't want is for people to think that our value or our worth is in just what we do. I mean, our economic worth, yes, obviously, right? Like if you don't produce at work, you're not going to get paid well. But what can tend to happen is people just, if people aren't, they feel like they aren't living up to what they should, they can feel like it's not even like that they're a disappointment to the world and they're better off not being around in the first place. But my faith is completely, the message of Christianity is completely the opposite. And Jesus says he came for the lowest, those who are, I'm trying to think of the wording, but I actually highlighted a verse last night in my reading. But in essence, the proud will be humbled and the humble will be proud. And he came not for the healthy, but he came for the ill. And, the whole point of salvation through Christ is that it is not what we do that saves us, but our faith in him alone. And to that point, I remember my dad, when we were really struggling in college, it was hard. We had been on the mission field for years, and we came back to North America and had to start college, and we didn't know how to learn, or I didn't know how to learn from a teacher, and I just barely scraped through my classes in my first year, and I was out of shape. I gained a bunch of weight, and it was a difficult year. But he threw this party for us. And it wasn't like, wow, look at all your achievements, because again, I just barely scraped through. But his message was survival is success. And I just celebrated this weekend my 40th birthday. And, when you get older, I know that a lot of people I know have this struggle. Getting older is difficult. It's not something that feels like should be celebrated. It's like, why am I celebrating being old? And my back hurts, my knees hurt, right? Like, youth is enjoyable and getting old is kind of sucks. So it's like, what is there to really well, I'm not gonna celebrate my birthday, who cares? It's not something to be celebrated. But to me, it gets back to this, sometimes surviving is enough. Sometimes it's just about survival. We don't, in this world where achievement is everything, I think it's an important message that surviving can be enough. And so, I don't know. What's my message? Yeah, sometimes it's enough in life to just make it through another year. And so I turned 40 and I'm celebrating the fact that I'm still here. I'm still here to love my family, love my kids, love my wife, share great games with all of you guys. And I know it can be a bit cringe to share one's faith on the internet. But I was talking, someone was saying, hey, great casting, Russoft, on this last video. I was like, okay, well, thank you. Oh yeah, they were surprised they don't have more views and more likes. So it's like, well, thank you, I appreciate that, but I don't really do this for the like. I'm not doing this to get popular. I could play the YouTube game, but that's not why I'm here, right? I'm not here for to make it big on YouTube. I could work harder to do that. That's not really why I did this. I do this for my people. That's the wording I use. I said my people. And you guys, I said, and my AoE 2 people is kind of what I clarified. But, you guys kind of, it was interesting that I used those words. I was referring to all of you in Lil League and otherwise, the types of people who would still be sitting here watching this video of me playing an old game on YouTube. I said, I refer to my people, and then, I kid you not, that same day, I was sitting and listening to a sermon by our pastor and talking about how your people need to know the message of salvation through Christ Jesus. And it was interesting that he used those same words, your people, and I refer to my people. And he was even saying, reflect on who your people are. They can be your friends, your family, the people you play sports with or video games with. He didn't mention video games, but it's just like, all right, so I'm not here to preach. I'm here to just have fun, but once in a while you're gonna get philosophy from me, like what you're getting here today. And to that end, I've been dancing around the topic, but I think it's pretty obvious to anyone with a brain what the circumstances around the passing of my good childhood friend. But I want to encourage you that if you are struggling, reach out, chat with me. I'm sure sometimes people might think that I am. There's this perception of Christians in that we are like self-righteous bunch, and that can be true. I was extremely self-righteous as a kid, but you don't get through 40 years of life and hang on to those illusions that you are somehow saved by your right. I mean, we are righteous, but not righteous by our actions. We are righteous by the saving blood of Jesus Christ and our faith in Him. It is not because I am a great person that I am saved. So all that to say, you can be dealing with some difficult stuff, and if you don't have someone to talk to, I can be that person to talk to. I can't always promise that I'll have the right answers for you, but I'm willing to... Oh boy, that was a mistake. What's going on here? Oh, I can jump out. Alright. Alright. Let's get to the end of this level. So yeah, I'd mentioned that we moved into the boonies in '97, and my childhood friend, one of my childhood friends, gave me this game, and the only American I really knew at that time. Well, let's put it this way: the only American missionary family that was in our area, and that guy had everything. I remember we walked into his room and he had all kinds of Star Wars toys, and yeah. He was that kid where like everyone went to his house because of his toys, and I don't know. I had that happen too. My friends would come over and I'd realize they weren't really there to hang out with me, they were there to play with my toys, and consequently, when I was like trying to come up with memories of my friend, that's all I could think was like all of his toys. And I'm like, these are very one-dimensional memories. All I'm doing is thinking of all the stuff he had, right? Like, yeah, I had a few memories of him, but it was like, oh yeah, we played this game together, or he had this cool toy, or it's I don't like this mission. We're gonna go LA skip. I want to get to a detention center. Oh, this one's fine. Actually, no, this one's a pain. I don't like this one. Not that, I specifically want detention center because, yeah, detention center. Detention center is one where my friend gave me the puzzle. He helped me with the puzzle for getting through this level. Yeah, he introduced me to a lot of games, this guy. So Dark Forces, the game he gifted us, which was really cool of him. And he also gave us like a CD sampler, I think it was called. And it had the demo for Full Throttle on it, I think, if I remember correctly. And it had the demo for Outlaws on it, if any of you remember that. First-person shooter. It was sort of this kind of era of first-person shooter where like the opponents are sprites. Like, look at this guy. He's just a flat object, right? He's not a 3D object. Like, this is definitely 3D. Like, the level design is definitely three-dimensional. You know, it changes as you approach it. And there were different levels. I remember Doom had it was like a single level. There was no up and down level. It was all fake, I think, is that they faked elevation, whereas here the elevation is pretty clearly real, right? Like there's some real elevation there. What on earth is that up there? I used to enjoy doing this. I used to hide. Try to hide. I think he saw me already, this guy. In the mission briefing, it talks about how you need to be, like, stealthy in getting into the base, otherwise you won't be able to get in. But there was no stealth element to this, as best as I could tell. Didn't matter how sneaky I was. There was no difference to which doors were unlocked or locked. It was just, the first real stealth game I played was either Splinter Cell or IGI 2. Those were great games. I should play those for a throwback. Both fantastic games. Ah. Yeah, this crappy gun. Oh wow, come on.
Stop where you are. Stop, rebel scum!
Yeah, so there's a seam in the wall here. And I think that saves me from doing a lot of the level. Because getting the key to get into this door, the red key, is almost impossible to find, the red key. But I will have to travel through these levels to set the other elevator. Turn on my headlight. Yeah, here we go. So this is... Yeah, see, the elevator's in the way. This is where you have to walk through to get to the detention level that your objective is on. There we go. Can I get out this way? I can't. See here. Here's the key. It's showing where the elevators have to be. So this is the bottom level. So this one needs to be on the second one down, and this one needs to be on the one below that down. We'll probably screw it up here. How do I get out? Come here for all the gaming secrets. Alright. Pretty bad that I remember all these secrets.
Surrender immediately.
Come on, go up. Oh, that was the bottom level. Oops. Alright, we're gonna have to go all the way back down. Alright, we're at the bottom level now. Oh, I still have my headlamp on. Wasting batteries. The batteries are those blue dots on the right-hand side of the HUD there. And yeah, you can see the when the red light's on, that means my headlight's on. But I never pay attention to it. I used to run the batteries flat on this thing. Okay, so it's flashing, 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 and... when does it go still? Any minute now. Oh, it's timed. I forgot. There's a time limit on this, so I have to be fast. What? Headlight. What? Oh, there we go. Quick! Oh no. I'm ruining it. There we go. I'm through. Alright. Oops, that hurt. Yep. Just blew myself up. Mine. These things, especially in the original game, they were so hard to hit. Doing more damage to myself than these things. There we go. And I want those med kits pretty soon. There's some Boschs or whatever they call them. Bosks? That thing. I used to get surprised by them. They used to punch me and reduce my health. They didn't attack shields, they attacked health. I used to play this with Super Shield on. Do they have that option anymore? Configuration? Game. Let's see here. Game. Oh, they've got all the cheats in here too. Oh yeah, you can set it up with Outlaws too. Maybe we'll do that next. Enhancements. Anyway, Super Shield was a standard setting that you could turn on. And we just played this with Super Shield all the time. Which meant that there was no challenge because most things that attacked your shields couldn't hurt you at all. But you could still fall and die. You could still... Wait a second. What did I just achieve in here? This isn't even the right level. I just wasted a whole bunch of time here. Here I'm talking and I'm wasting time. Oops. Yeah, so you could fall, you could get punched. Anything that like did melee damage, like the... What are those warthogs called? I put the FPS counter on. Come on guys, what are the warthogs called in this game? The pigs with the axes. Memoriam guards. Those would damage you. Oh, I wasn't on the bottom level. That's why the problem. Now I should be on the bottom level. Yeah, now I'm on the bottom level. Alright. Too easy talking. Okay, flashing, 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 and steady. Oh, come on. There we go. Yeah, those would hurt you. There was the big lizard things. I'm not remembering their name either. That would eat you. So there were a lot of things that attacked health instead of shields, and they were still very scary. Some of the dark troopers, the number 1 dark troopers that had like the sword arms, would be more scary than the level 2, which had the guns, assault rifles or whatever they were. Dark trooper assault rifle. Yeah, so we always just play this on. See, there's the red key, but I actually don't need that. Okay, so we'll set the level of this one. Okay, that's 1 up. That's 2 up, and then it's back to the bottom. So I think if I remember, it's the second one. I think it's that one. Oh. I don't remember. We're gonna go with that. So then I need to go down 1. No, so it is the next level. Where'd you guys come from? Alright, this one needs to be down a level. So we're gonna go all the way to the bottom, and then we'll go up again. There. So that one, the first elevator sits on that level. Or is it? Yeah, it sits on this level. And then we drop down to this level. Okay. Because we walk across the tops of the elevators, but you have to drop down. You're not jumping up. You're dropping down on top of the first elevator and then dropping down on top of the second elevator. And the reason I'm solving this is because this is like one of those little nuggets of information that this childhood friend of mine who has passed away gave to me. So it's like, in memory of him, I gotta play it. Gotta do this level. Yeah, so you can get Dark Forces on Steam, and then the Force engine is available as a download, as like a mod to the game. They have remastered this, but they charge a bunch of money for it, and I'm not sure if the remaster is really worth it. I mean, I like to support devs, but sometimes I feel like if it's not very good, why are you supporting their work? And I don't know, I like to support people who work for free too, and this was done for free, and I think it's fantastic. It's breathed new life into a game that I've owned for my entire life. Oh boy, yeah, there we go. So that's elevator 1, and there's elevator 2. Such an absurd puzzle, but not the most obscure and absurd puzzle. There have been worse in the history of 90s gaming, and gaming in general, but 90s gaming was especially bad about it. All those adventure games that there were out there, some of the puzzles were just extremely, what would the term be? They were just really dumb puzzles. Oh, come on. This is just a platforming puzzle. This is not, this is just a skill issue. Obnoxious is the word I was looking for. Some of those puzzles are just obnoxious. You're just like, come on. Really? How was I supposed to guess that? I'll give it to this game. Dark Forces was really good about combining shooting and puzzle solving. You felt smart playing this game. A lot of shoot. I mean, there's a place for stuff like Doom 2016 where it's like, I don't know, maybe there are puzzles in that, but like, there's something to be said for just having a dumb shooter where you just run around shooting things. It does satisfy an itch, but this was certainly the contemplative gamers first-person shooter where you actually had to think and solve puzzles and... Oh no. Oh no, I don't remember the code. It's not 3CD.
You're not authorized.
If it's on some other part of the map, I guess Crix Maydeen isn't getting rescued. Alright, let's see. Inventory. We've got DQF and FXR. DQF and FXR. DQF. And the one's FXR. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be either of these. Oh, we got lucky.
I rescued Maydeen.
There we go.
Don't hang around. Let's get out of here before any more troopers arrive.
And that's it. That was Detention Center. Nar Shaddaa. No, that's not Nar Shaddaa. This is LA Skip. Robotics facility. I don't really care for this one either. Let's see, what other good ones are there? This is Nar Shaddaa. It's a cool and terrible map all at the same time. I used to love all the city lights. Felt so expansive, this level. Here we go. This is the monster I was talking about that you gotta fight. Let's do it. Let's fight this thing in Jabba's ship.
Jabba, what have you done with Jan? If any harm comes to her, I'll personally shove my blaster down your slimy throat.
Cal Dragon.
I
There
wish
you
you
go.
were here too, Jabba. There's nothing like roast Kel Dragon.
Oh boy. Oh yeah, I'm so good at this. The hard difficulty, there's like 3 of these you have to fight weaponless. It's just absurdly difficult. That was hard enough. I used to lose a whole bunch of lives just defeating the one. Great music. Oh, you can barely hear it. There we go. You know, I played D&D recently. I'm not really into fantasy. Even though Star Wars is basically like sci-fi fantasy or science fantasy. Anyway, it's more fantasy than it is sci-fi. But I gotta be honest, the aspects of Star Wars I liked weren't... now the music's too loud. I can't focus. The aspects of Star Wars I liked were not like the Force and the Jedis. I loved this game because it was just like a shooter. You just had to use your wits to win. I think on the hard level, they put a mine right behind one of these doors. Just obnoxious. Ouch. Do I have the repeater? Oh, I skipped the level where I get the repeater. That figures. Oh yeah, see? That's dirty. Ouch. Man, those things are tough. I thought all barrels would have killed them. Problem is ammo on this level. Extra life. Yeah. These things are deadly because they've got the concussion rifles. They do a lot of damage. This thing can kill you though if you're not careful. It also eats ammo, so I'm going to switch away from it. And this thing, that's what I don't like about the side-by-side barrels here, is it often seems to miss. Uh-huh. It's not very time efficient. You saw it? Yeah, you gotta jump over like that. Wow. How many hits is this thing gonna take? There we go. Oops. Hopefully this is the right elevator. That was kind of accidental. Nope, it's not. I don't know why I'd want to go back there. Ah! Wrong weapon. Yeah, and how do you deal with friendly fire in a game this old? You don't. You just pretend it doesn't exist. You can see, perfectly flat sprite. Oops. And, I don't know, I think that's it. We're past an hour now. I should probably wrap this one up. Thank you for joining me. Being my group therapy. You know, I've already sat down and done some writing. That's how I deal with stuff. I write about it. I talk about it. Often I talk about it to myself. I have a little audio recorder. Just record it for posterity. Maybe I'll come back to it someday. But this is a good outlet too. Thanks for joining me. And I'll catch you in the next one.